right, there we are. We got better Wi-Fi. I got kicked out the last time. All right, hi, I'm Kirsten from Kirsten Foss Coaching, and on Thursdays I do a spa business break where I talk about all sorts of topics that have to do with your spa business and actually making it easier, because we know that this gig is a tough one. The service in any kind of service industry is a tough business to be in because your expenses are very high because it's a high touch industry. So same with restaurants, it's you know, kind of lower profit margins than if you were just selling widgets or things. So yeah, we have to acknowledge that it's not the easiest industry to make a buck at. That being said, we can actually learn a lot from our previous years in business. I think a lot of times when we're thinking about 2018 planning, New Year's planning for our business, it's really easy to just start with looking forward. What do I want to do? What are my goals? What do I want to achieve? And then the planning part is how am I going to achieve those? What you would be missing, and you would be absolutely doing yourself a disservice if you didn't start with reflection first of what happened in 2017. What happened in 2017 that worked? And what happened in your business in 2017 that didn't work? Because here's the thing, we have a tendency to kind of miraculously forget what worked, what didn't throughout the year, because we're so busy in the minutia of our day that when it comes to looking at, you know, planning the visionary stuff, we forget those little details. And so we tend to literally reinvent the wheel every year. So why don't you make it easier on yourself and do a little analysis before you get started with your 28 planning to reflect on what worked and what didn't work for 2017, and tweak the things that worked and ditch the stuff that didn't, okay? Rather than just keep repeating every year, wondering, oh, why am I not growing the same at the rate that I want to be growing? Okay, so I have a little bit of a list here, so if you want to grab a pen and paper, this will give you some ideas of what to reflect on. So if you're watching live, I see Rebecca here live. If you are it's great to see you. If you happen to be watching the replay, then just type in that you're watching on the replay, so I'd love to see who is watching. Okay, so I've got a couple of lists here for what you want to be reflecting on. Now, the first list is under the heading marketing, which I know that you all are very, very concerned about with your business because it has to do with visibility, how visible you are to the public, to the consumers. If you're not visible enough, you are the best kept secret. It doesn't matter how great of an esthetician you are, it doesn't matter how great of a team you have. If you cannot seem to dial in on your marketing, you know, you guys are just kind of waiting, hoping for more people to call and book appointments or go online and book appointments. Or you may be just relying on word of mouth, which is okay, but is it working for you? So I personally built up the last aesthetics business I had pre social media. And so referral marketing worked exponentially for me, but I also lived in a very small town, and I knew I could see the difference marketing with a referral program in a small town as compared to a big city, because I had just recently moved from a much larger living area that I was living in to a much smaller little town. But it absolutely can be done, referral marketing. My point is today is that some things will work great for some people and some things won't work for others. Case in point about small town referral marketing in a really big city. So that is why we need to reflect on what worked, what didn't. So when it comes to marketing, you've got that main heading. Underneath that, you're going to have some subheadings. So we're going to have email marketing, social media marketing, your website, and networking. Okay, that's part of your marketing. And then referrals. Okay. So under each of those headings, then you want to start taking notes, like just little jotted notes about under email marketing, what worked. So maybe in 2017, you decided to up your email marketing game and you consistently put out 2 emails a month. You were consistent with your message. You were consistent with a little call to action at the bottom that people responded to, whether it was a book now button or whether that was a few last minute appointments available that week. So take a look at what worked really well for you with your email marketing. Same, conversely, what didn't work well with your email marketing? Maybe you started off great sending out 2 emails a month, but then you kind of petered out halfway through the year and you weren't getting as many people getting activated with that call to action. Okay, so how much business came from the emails that started petering out as opposed to the emails that were starting to get some momentum? Now with email marketing, keep in mind that you do need to have at least around 6 months to really start getting the momentum going for your tribe of people, for your list of people to get used to marketing consistently via email. Okay, so in marketing, we're kind of training consumers. They're already trained in a lot of ways. They're trained in a lot of ways of what to look for. They're trained in a lot of ways as far as like ad fatigue. So consumers go through patterns. So with your email marketing, take a look, write down some notes. What worked, what didn't? Maybe part of the email marketing that didn't work for you was that you just didn't have enough time. So in that case, when it comes to your 2018 marketing, that means that no, I don't want to dial back on my marketing, but what I do need is some support. So maybe you start looking at hiring a virtual assistant to do your email marketing for you. Not necessarily to write it all out, but just to put it up into MailChimp, schedule it to go out, that kind of thing. What about your social media marketing? What worked, what didn't? How was your social media frequency? How often were you posting? What was your messaging like? Was it consistent or was it hit and miss? What about like what kind of value were you giving with your social media marketing? Was it just a lot of shares and kind of not really any of your opinions in any of those posts? So take a look, go back on your Facebook page and see what you were posting all through the year. Okay, look at what people were engaging with. Okay. Now, I have a little tidbit for you for going into 2018, and you may not like it, but I don't care because this tidbit is good and it works. I really encourage you to start trying to do Facebook Lives for some of your social media marketing. Facebook is giving much heavier weight to Facebook Lives, and what that means is that if you're going to do a Facebook Live, they're going to show that post to more people who are following you. Okay, so if you do not want to pay for reach in Facebook ads, then you're going to have to hop on the bandwagon as far as what is Facebook promoting the most, because that way you can get more reach for free, okay? But that means that you have to step out of your comfort zone and start doing some more Facebook Lives. And trust me, they don't, I don't know if anybody comes at these like right out of the gate, super smooth, super easy. It just takes time to practice. I gave myself a challenge, I guess it was about 2.5 years ago when Periscope first came out, and I'm like, whoa, this is really cool. I saw the value of it. This is way before Facebook had their own Facebook Lives, but I saw the value of this live streaming. It's more of a relaxed, casual kind of content. And for me personally, I find that's easier sometimes than writing out a blog post. Right? Sometimes it's just a lot quicker to communicate verbally. The other piece about video and Facebook Lives is that you get an idea of like the kind of person I am. Same goes for your business. So if you're wanting to get more visibility for 2018, I really, really encourage you to start trying to do Facebook Lives. Don't worry that you're not great at them at first. Don't worry that you feel awkward. Everybody does. But it's the consistency that really helps to make you get better at them. Okay? Okay, what about your website? What happened in 2017? Were you maybe you looked at this last year and you're like, oh gosh, I need to do a website update, kind of a little bit of a makeover. It's looking old, it's not mobile responsive. And heads up, if your website is not mobile responsive, you're getting dinged heavily with Google. All right, so mobile responsive means that if I'm looking at it on my phone, I'm not having to like zoom in. It's all easy for me to read on my device. So with your website, for like what worked, what didn't, maybe you realize you needed to do a website update. Maybe you just realize there's some tweaks in there, which quite often is really what just needs to happen. Maybe your cover image needs to change. Maybe you need some call to actions on your homepage. Maybe you need to beef up and make your about page a little bit more interesting, because honestly, I find there's a lot of really boring about pages. About pages, I want to know about you. If I'm going to be coming to your place of business for a spa service, I want to start getting to know you, your business, what you stand for, what are your values, what kind of people are you and your staff before I arrive. It starts building trust. So those are a few places that you may be looking at your website as far as what works, what doesn't for 2017, and giving you some ideas about what to put on your 2018 plan for marketing. The other last heading I have here for marketing is networking. So I know you guys love to be in your treatment rooms, and I know that we, as service providers, we spend a lot of time with people every day, and the last thing we feel like doing is going out to a networking meeting. But honestly, they really do help, and it's just part of that being visible, being consistently visible in your community. Maybe they're not necessarily networking meetings. Maybe you find those boring, but maybe there is some sort of service group in your community that you'd like to be a part of. That will eventually start bringing you some visibility and awareness about your business as well. Okay, what's another heading that you want to look at and reflect on from last year? Staffing. The headings under staffing would be hiring, training, coaching, compensation. All right. How did those 4 separate headings go for you last year? Maybe maybe you've been in business for a while and you've had a team, and for some reason the hires this year have just been not great. Maybe there's something in your hiring process for yourself that needs to be adjusted and tweaked. Okay. We can do a lot of filtering before we hire, but I think a lot of times as owners, we're so caught up in stuff in our business, we just want to hire somebody and we just want them just to do their job. And a lot of times we are missing a lot of red flags with new staff, and we hire them and they turn out to be a bad hire. Okay, so pick out a few notes, things that you're like, oh yeah, I remember hiring for 2017. I need to make sure I don't do this again. With training, do you have a training program? A lot of you guys don't have training programs. So of course, you may have some exceptional staff that you've hired that just are go-getters, and they're self-aware and they take initiative. You just happen to hit the jackpot, because that doesn't normally happen. We need training programs and systems so that we can create consistency in our hires, so that the outcomes for our clients are the same. Coaching your team. I think a lot of spa owners forget that they have to keep coaching their team. I know you just want them to do their job and do it well and not have to deal with them. If that's the case, you should probably have staff. You might want to think about going to solo, because as an owner, when you have a team, you have a responsibility to train and coach your staff consistently. Okay. What about compensation? What's working with your compensation? What's not working with your compensation? It's a huge topic, but I know that if you have staff, that you have some points to talk about this, or some points that you want to remember in order to go forward with maybe you need a new compensation structure. If you're paying straight commission, I'm going to tell you now, you need a new compensation structure. Okay. What's another heading here? Maybe last year you brought on a new service. Maybe you launched a new service. Or maybe you launched a new retail line. So with those new offerings, you want to do a little debrief about those as well. So with a new service, did you do any testing with it? Did you do any case studies with it? I love doing case studies because they're a way to kind of light a fire under our marketing for us. So we can use the information that we're learning in our case studies and being able to use that in our marketing to start stimulating some interest in what's happening or what's coming in the spa. How did you market your new service or your new retail product? Looking back, would you do it differently? Probably. I think most of us, when we look back, we're like, yeah, I could have done that a little better, a little differently. I don't want you to beat yourself up about stuff. Like, that's not what this is about. This is about looking at it objectively, and not subjectively, like, like part of it is your opinions, but looking at the issues objectively and just looking at them as far as process, like how could I have done this a little differently to make it easier for myself? Okay. That's how we learn. That's how the business literally grows without having to keep reinventing the wheel, keep adding new services, keep buying new technology in hopes of drawing attention. What really helps to grow the business is tweaking along the way and getting rid of the stuff that doesn't work, okay? What was as far as new services or new retail offerings, did you train your staff up for them? Did you have enough training for them? Do they need continual training up with it? Is there some upgrading that could be done, some brushing up on it? So those are a few ideas for you as far as looking back on 2017 and figuring out what worked, what didn't, and in order to then start being able to make clearer goals for yourself for 2018, as well as a much easier to follow implementation process. If you're already picking out the pieces that don't work, picking the pieces that do work, then we're starting to get somewhere. Now we're cooking with fire, right? All right, so the information that all the headings that I've given you, the ideas, for what you want to tweak in your business, you want to cook that into your 2018 plan. Now, I think if you've been following me for a while, most of you know that I'm not doing like full year plans anymore. I don't do that for my business. I don't do that for my private clients or my group coaching clients. We've chunked it out into quarters. We do quarterly planning, and that's because it's relevant. Working quarterly is relevant. It keeps us fresh. You know what it's like when you've got a great idea. A couple months down the road, you start like, yeah, whatever. It starts petering out. It's really hard to keep that momentum. So I would encourage you to chunk out your year into quarters and to do goal setting and implementation quarterly. So we're getting started in January 15th for the Spa Business Labs. That's our January start date. And I've got a few spots left in it. I think I've got three spots left. There's 2 days that I've got for times. That's Mondays at 10 a.m. and Tuesdays at 10 a.m. That's Pacific time. There's, one in Mondays, 2 in Tuesdays, I think that's left. So if you are you're doing some reflecting about your business and you are like, oh, I'm overwhelmed and I don't even know how to prioritize this list, because 100% you absolutely need to prioritize. You may have a humongous list of goals that you want to achieve, but the fact of the matter is you're not going to achieve them all in at one sitting or in 1 year. If you've got big goals, then it's going to take time to map it out, and it's also going to take time to action it out, especially if you are still in the treatment room. One of the big problems I see with spa owners with goal setting is that they create too many goals. They make the whole process too big, and then they don't complete it because they're overwhelmed. So keep it simple. You want to keep into consideration, like, okay, I tend to I feel like I put down on my list too many things. I don't have enough time to do them all. Okay. So I have a sneaking suspicion that you might need some help with prioritizing. You could look at your list and go, all of it needs to be a priority, but not everything can be a priority. That's called priorities, not priority. So pick your top 3 priorities and then pick your number 1 priority for the quarter, okay? And if you want to have help with this, then contact me, and you very much probably want to be into the Spa Business Labs, because we meet every 2 weeks. It's a mastermind format. Each group has a maximum of 6 spa owners in it, and every coaching call that we have, you have 15 minutes to ask a question of me. So we just take turns. And so you bring whatever you want to the table and I will help you within that 15 minutes. We also have a private Facebook group so we can continue on the conversation. If you've asked me a question about marketing and I'm helping you map out your email marketing schedule and the content that goes in it, and then say after the coaching call, you're like, oh, I've got some more questions about that. You pop into the Facebook group and you ask some follow-up questions and I'm there for you. Your peers are there for you. It's a really nice, great little tight-knit community of spa owners that we have in there. All right, so if that's something that interests you, let me know because I'm going to get onboarding all lab participants starting next week. I'm away. I'm going to Mexico for a week before I come back and hit the jets with the Spa Business Labs. So yeah, next week will be the week to onboard. All right. That's it for me for Spa Business Break on Thursdays. Thanks for joining me. And I hope you had a great holiday season. I know that for some of you, I mean, I was beating the drum all December about you're probably busy. You're probably crazy busy. You're probably out of your mind busy. However, I do know that there were some of you that were kind of thinking, oh, I'm not busy. Is something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. Sometimes that's just the cycle of your business. Or maybe, perhaps, for next year, for next December, I could be helping you plan out, map out a busier December if that's what you want. All right, that's it. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.